We all know someone who refuses to admit they're wrong, even when the facts slap them in the face. But why? Is stubbornness a personality flaw, a strength, or something coded into our DNA? And here's the real question. Why do people refuse to admit the truth, even when they know they're wrong? Let's explore the cutting-edge science, psychology, and genetics behind stubbornness, how it stops us from learning, why we defend lines we know are false, and whether humans are the only stubborn creatures on Earth. The science of stubbornness. Why some people never admit they're wrong. Stubbornness is the tendency to resist change, refuse new ideas, or cling to beliefs despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Psychologists classify it as a blend of traits, including high conscientiousness, sticking to decisions, low agreeableness, less likely to compromise, high persistence, which can be productive or destructive. But here's what makes it fascinating. Research from 2024 suggests stubbornness may not primarily be a personality trait at all. It could be how your brain processes predictions. Your brain constantly makes predictions about the world, and when those predictions become stubborn, they resist updating even when new information proves them wrong. Stubbornness has evolutionary roots. Our ancestors needed unwavering determination to survive danger, scarcity, and predators. But in modern life, that same trait can become a liability. So, is stubbornness something you're born with or something you learn? The answer: both. Genetic influence. The twin studies show that 40 to 60% of personality traits tied to stubbornness are heritable. That means a big part of your tendency to stand firm comes from your parents. But which genes are involved? Environmental influence. Stubbornness is often linked to insecurity, the fear of losing control or appearing weak, which drives people to prove themselves and resist any challenge to their sense of self. Parenting style plays a huge role. Overly strict parents equals rebellious stubbornness. Overly permissive parents equals entitlement-based stubbornness. Cultural values also matter. Societies that emphasize independence tend to produce more strong-willed individuals. Childhood trauma or controlling environments can create self-protective stubbornness, a defense mechanism that persists into adulthood. Scientists have identified specific genes that influence stubborn behavior. DRD2 and DRD4 genes, dopamine receptors, associated with novelty seeking and persistence. Variants correlate with rigid thinking and difficulty shifting perspectives. Tendency to repeat mistakes rather than learn from them, contributing to stubbornness. 2-COMT gene, catechol O methyltransferase, regulates dopamine in the prefrontal cortex. Certain variants link to emotional resilience, but also mental stubbornness under stress and aggressive behavior. 3-MAOA gene, monoamine oxidase A, influences self-control and emotional regulation. Low-activity variants make people more reactive, defensive, and resistant to giving in. 4-OXTR gene, oxytocin receptor gene, influences social bonding and trust. Some variants affect empathy and cooperation, impacting flexibility. These genes don't guarantee stubbornness, but they create a biological foundation that predispose certain people to resist stubbornly. Psychology studies estimate that 20 to 30% of the population shows high levels of stubbornness as a core personality trait. But here's the kicker: mild stubbornness appears in over 60% of people, especially in debates, relationships, and work environments. Recent research from 2023 found that performance-oriented students tend to be more stubborn than mastery-oriented students, showing that goal orientation affects how rigidly people stick to their approaches. This is the million-dollar question. Why do people defend positions they know are false? The answer lies in cognitive dissonance, one of the most powerful forces in psychology. What is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort experienced when someone holds two contradictory beliefs, or when their behavior conflicts with their values. When this happens, your brain has two options: change your beliefs, change your behavior. But here's the problem. People tend to change their attitudes to match their behavior, rather than changing their behavior to match their rational beliefs. Someone smokes cigarettes. They know smoking is deadly. But instead of quitting, they rationalize, "My grandfather smoked and lived to 90, or we all die anyway." The brain wants to protect us from mistakes, so the easiest solution is to conclude with the mistake never happened at all. When evidence strikes at the heart of how we see ourselves, our identity as kind, smart, or ethical, cognitive dissonance becomes most painful. That's why police and prosecutors persist even when DNA evidence exonerates someone. Investors hold on to failing stocks rather than admit they made a bad choice. COMT members reinterpret reality when prophecies fail. Once you justify each step after an original decision, it becomes harder to admit you were wrong at the outset. People with low ability in a specific area often overestimate their competence and refuse to acknowledge their limitations. Individuals lacking expertise are unaware of them, making it difficult to assess their performance. When narcissists make mistakes, they refuse to engage in should-counterfactual thinking, analyzing what they should have done differently because they don't believe they made any mistakes. Instead, their refrain is, "No one could have seen this coming. If we're so smart, why do we keep making the same mistakes repeatedly?" Scientists discovered a brain signal called ERN that peaks milliseconds after we make a mistake, helping us spot and correct errors. But here's the shocking part. In people who are highly impulsive or antisocial, this error monitoring signal is significantly weaker, meaning their brains don't register mistakes the same way. Childhood trauma and risk perception. Adults who had stressful childhoods find it harder to sense risky situations approaching, making it difficult to spot looming health, financial, or legal problems. Their brains show lower activity when considering losses, overreaction when losses happen. Research from the University of Chicago found that people often don't learn from mistakes at all when told they got something wrong. They shut down and perform worse on subsequent tasks because failure challenges their sense of identity, worth, and competence besides lowering self-esteem. The repetition trap. Research from McMaster University shows that the very act of making a mistake, despite receiving correction, constitutes the learning of that mistake. Your brain literally encodes the error. In stressful situations, the brain activates primitive survival responses, fight, flight, or freeze, which override natural corrective learning from mistakes. The more you use these defense mechanisms, the stronger they become, making it even harder to change. Contrary to popular wisdom, research shows people appear to learn less from their failures than from their successes. When we fail, we often tune out because it threatens our ego and there are no rewards. You might think stubbornness is a human flaw, but you'd be wrong. Many animals exhibit remarkably stubborn behavior, and for good evolutionary reasons. Donkeys are often misunderstood as stubborn, but their cautious nature reflects deep self-preservation instincts. They freeze rather than flee when faced with uncertainty. Their stubbornness is intelligence and careful decision-making. Mules project stubborn behavior to protect themselves from overworking, and they won't accept extra loads like donkeys will. Bulls display unwavering determination, linked to their physical strength and territorial instincts. Cows can become very stubborn due to past trauma or painful experiences, exhibiting difficult emotional states following traumatic events. Goats establish social hierarchies and engage in intense headbutting battles over leadership positions, showcasing their determined and obstinate character. Cats display stubbornness through their fierce independence, choosing to ignore requests and asserting their autonomy, behavior shaped by ancient instincts. Elephants may resist commands if they believe instructions go against their instincts or disrupt established social bonds. The evolutionary advantage. A stubbornness in animals isn't a flaw, and it's a survival mechanism. It helps them avoid dangerous situations, protect themselves from overexertion, maintain social hierarchies, exercise autonomy and intelligence. The same is true for humans. Stubbornness evolved to help us survive, but in modern society, it can backfire spectacularly. Believe it or not, stubbornness can be a superpower. Advantages: persistence under pressure, strong sense of identity, determination to achieve long-term goals, resistance to peer pressure, leadership potential when balanced with empathy. A study published in International Psychogeriatrics found that participants who were stubborn yet optimistic had greater mental health and a better mental outlook than even younger people, regardless of physical health status. Many groundbreaking innovators and leaders share productive stubbornness, also known as grit. Disadvantages of being stubborn: relationship conflict, inability to accept feedback, slower learning due to resistance to new information, workplace tensions, emotional stress, lost opportunities. Unchecked stubbornness can erode trust, limit personal growth, and isolate people socially. So what do you do when you're dealing with someone impossibly stubborn? Stay calm. Stubborn people escalate when they sense emotional pressure. Avoid direct confrontation. They shut down when they feel cornered. Offer choices, not commands. This preserves their sense of autonomy. Ask guiding questions instead of arguing. Example: what would happen if we tried this for just one day? Acknowledge their feelings first. Validation reduces defensiveness. Use facts, but gently, always in small doses. Use counterfactual thinking. Research suggests that what-if thinking and fictional scenarios may help people think about events from different perspectives. Know when to walk away. Some battles are not worth your peace. Stubbornness is not a defect. It's a double-edged trait shaped by genes, brain chemistry, childhood experiences, and evolutionary survival. In the right context, it drives greatness. In the wrong, it damages relationships, prevents learning, and traps us in cycles of repeated mistakes. And it's not uniquely human. Animals from donkeys to elephants exhibit the same behavior, proving that stubbornness is hardwired into survival itself. Understanding stubbornness in others and in ourselves is the first step to managing it, because the real question isn't whether you're stubborn, it's whether your stubbornness is working for you or against you. If you enjoyed this science breakdown, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell us, are you a stubborn person? Or do you know someone who is? Have you ever refused to admit you were wrong even when you knew the truth? See you in the next video.